The White Sox are back to losing. Let's discuss next on LockOn White Sox.
You are Locked On White Sox, your daily Chicago White Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And hello, I'm Todd Welter, a lifelong White Sox fan and the site expert of Southside Showdown, part of the Fansided Network. You should check out my written content at southsideshowdown.com. Also, I've covered Major League Baseball for outlets such as the Associated Press. And thanks for making Locked On White Sox your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And hey, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel at Locked On White Sox, smash the like button, and leave a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts, as that would be greatly appreciated. Well, all good things must end, and the White Sox surprising 3-game win streak is over. Sox lost to the Minnesota Twins 3-2 last night. At least it was just a run-of-the-mill loss, so progress. We will discuss that on today's show. Also, Bryon Buxton, he scored the winning run. Yes, the Twins' more expensive version of Eloy Jimenez keeps killing the White Sox. I'll discuss how does he compare with other Twins who used to kill the Sox. And then finally, I was asked in the comments recently about what are my thoughts on new Sox TV announcer John Schiffren. And he did also start maybe he didn't mean to, but he did start a small social media civil war regarding a recent tweet he made, so we'll discuss that as well. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go. I admit it, I have a competitive side, and it's a big fan of Monopoly Go, the mobile hit twist on classic Monopoly. So join your friends and download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or Google Play. So the Sox lost, in essence, what was a pitcher's duel. Garrett Crochet, he looked more like the stud pitcher we saw in his first 3 outings. He went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs in the second inning. A 2-run shot by Carlos Santana, the baseball player, not the guitarist. We always have to make that distinction. He had about 2 more rough moments, and then he settled down and retired 11 straight. He was pulled, though, after 5, and that was looking like it was going to be a huge mistake as Brad Keller came in and made his White Sox debut. He was a bit wild, and it was looking like that narrative was trending towards Pedro Grifol made another bad bullpen decision, but Keller got out of the inning unscathed. And look, it's a long season. Garrett Crochet is making the transition from reliever to starter. This is a guy who only pitched, I believe, 73 innings, career innings before the season started. So I get the thinking. And in hindsight, 2020, it did not bite Pedro in the butt, although it was looking that way. And just from a purely entertainment standpoint, I would have rather seen Crochet at least go 1 or 2 more innings. His pitch count was low. I think he left at 77 pitches. I'd rather see Garrett Crochet than Brad Keller. But hey, is what it is. Tim Hill and Michael Kopech also helped keep the Twins from breaking a 2-2 tie. But then Bryon Buxton led off the 9th with a double off of John Breba, and Max Kepler drove him home. And that's the ball game. Although the Sox did have a chance to tie or win the game, they had men at first and third with 2 outs, but Corey Lee struck out swinging to end the game. On the other side, Joe Ryan of the Twins silenced the Sox bats, pitched 6 strong innings, gave up only 2 runs, and allowed 6 hits. Quick coffee sip. Again, if you don't know by now, or you're new to the podcast, I'm a big coffee drinker, like a little half and half in there. And I'm using, for those that are not watching on YouTube, I'm using my White Sox mug this morning. Andrew Vaughn, he was moved up to the 2-hole, and his struggles have been well documented on the podcast. but he looks like maybe this was the move that needed to get him out of his slump. He went 2 for 4, including an RBI double in the first inning. Slash line is now up to 180, 252, and 230. So, progress. And the Sox are now 3-1 in the Tommy Pham era. Although Tommy didn't play. Because according to Pedro Gaffal, and this is from at Vinny Duber, CHGO White Sox beat reporter Vinny Duber, he tweeted this out. Tommy Pham is getting a day to rest, said Pedro Gaffal. The skipper explained that Pham didn't have a spring training, and he doesn't want to overwork a guy who does everything 100%. Gaffal said Pham could still appear in tonight's game and will start tomorrow. Pham did end up appearing in yesterday's game, but it's just more Pedro Gaffal logic that's baffling. Tommy Pham is a hired mercenary. You brought him in basically to help you with your veteran clubhouse, but with the $500,000 bonus to trade him, I think they're going to try to trade him because I think the Sox would cover that to try to get a player back. As long as he's a solid player this year, like he was last year, a contender is going to want him. Use him. Use him up. Plus, he's on a 1-year deal. You're not going anywhere. If you're going to send Dominic Fletcher down, and I know it's a strange hill to die on, but if you're going to send a young player down, or like, for example, you're going to call up Oscar Colas for 1 game and then send him back down. If you're going to play all these veterans, play them. I get it's April. You want to try to preserve something, but why are you benching him? I don't know. Especially since he was productive over the weekend. But hey, when it comes to logic, Pedro Gaffal has there's one way of thinking things, which is what we call reality, and then there's the way that Pedro Gaffal thinks, which is frustrating. Speaking of frustrating, it's always frustrating to see Bryon Buxton up at the plate in a big moment, and he always seems to come through for the Twins. And again, he gets the double. Kepler then fouls him up. Ball game. Also, if you're hearing a whoosh in the background, it's just my heat going on. It's still a little chilly up where I am. Well, speaking of Buxton, let's discuss next where he compares to those other Twins who have just always killed the White Sox. And it's surprising where he ranks, or at least where he compares. We'll discuss that next on LockOn White Sox. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets, guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. And you can use that to put together some fun parlays or prop bets. Yes, prop bets. I got my old college roommate. I always talk about him when it comes to FanDuel and prop bets. What he likes to do with his strategy. And again, bet to your strengths if you're going to gamble. He likes to put together the bets that he feels he's going to confident that he's going to win. He's in it to win it. And then he throws in a prop bet like, say, hey, is this game going to go into overtime? And he usually does it at a relatively low price. So, hey, if it hits, fantastic. He had something extra to enhance his game experience. And if it doesn't, well, at least he's got his other bets to fall back on. Had another buddy just text me, hey, man, you got any FanDuel promo codes? Well, hey, bet on because he wants to bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to LockOn Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. LockOn Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And welcome back into Locked On White Sox. I'm your host, Todd Welter. Again, the White Sox, we discussed in the first segment, Sox lost 3-2. And it was Bryon Buxton who scored the winning run. And all Bryon Buxton seems to do is spend time on the IL, as he's only played over 100 games once in his 10-year career. And the Twins gave him a $100 million contract. So just imagine if the White Sox had extended Eloy Jimenez even further. But it always seems like he is healthy enough to play against the White Sox and just crush them. So he has a .417 average against the Sox this season, along with a 1.295 OPS. He had a crushing home run last week that helped the Twins sweep the Sox in a 4-game set in Minneapolis. He is a career .284 hitter against the Sox with a .934 OPS and 20 home runs. So how does he compare with other Twins who just raked against the White Sox? And I went back to as far back as Torrey Hunter. I'm sure Kent Hrbek back in the day crushed the White Sox. I'm sure Kirby Puckett also just destroyed the Sox, but there was only a brief moment in history where the Twins were like a thorn in the White Sox side before this century. The Twins really, in my opinion, did not, and again, my opinion, did not become a true rival of the White Sox until 2001, when the Sox just could not beat the Twins, especially at the Metrodome. And then there was that glorious 2005 season, obviously, where the Sox won the division, but then the Twins and the Tigers took it back in 2006. Then there was that glorious blackout game in 2008, John Danks, Jim Thome's home run. Sox win the division, but ever since then, it's just like, it seems like the Twins just crush the White Sox hopes, and especially certain players like Joe Mauer, who always seemed to be up in big moments against the Sox. And he had a .298 career average against the Sox, .822 OPS, 18 dingers, 105 RBIs in 212 games. Justin Morneau, another guy, always seemed to be up in big moments against the Sox. .274 career average against them, .829 OPS, 25 home runs. Although those numbers probably include his time with the Pirates and the Rockies. Also, remember, he finished his career with the White Sox. Remember when Kenny Williams was just always bringing in legends way past their prime, like Ken Griffey Jr., Manny Ramirez? Justin Morneau, another guy. Torrey Hunter. He always seemed to be making big catches in the outfield to rob the Sox of hits. He also produced at the plate against the Sox, .283 average, an .817 OPS, 35 home runs, 123 RBIs. We're now getting into maybe some lesser names, but still very effective against the White Sox for the Twinkies. Brian Dozier, .266 career average, .830 OPS, 22 home runs. Although those numbers could include the time that he spent with the Dodgers and the Mets. Baseball Reference didn't officially filter everything out. His time with the Twins versus the Sox, but he did spend the majority of his career with the Twins. Michael Kadire, .298 career average, .827 OPS, 20 home runs, but also time with the Rockies and the Mets, but the majority of his career with the Twins. And the majority of the time, just breaking the White Sox. But Bryon Buxton, he has the highest OPS among them. So I have to ask the question, why do you keep pitching to him. If first base is always open, put him on, play for the double play. Or again, throw 4 balls in the dirt, see if he chases. And yet here we are. It's the same thing over and over again with the White Sox. It's the definition of sanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. He keeps crushing you. And you decide to pitch to him. Like I said, I mean, the guy is rarely healthy. He, is normally going to be on the IL. That would be an interesting prop bet to place on FanDuel. When is Bryon Buxton going to end up on the IL? And I think that's the only thing that helps the White Sox. But again, it just seems like he's always healthy against the Sox, and he's going to crush you. So stop giving him pitches up over the plate. Again, throw 4 balls outside. If you don't want to make it look like the intentional walk, try to give him something to chase. It's just the guy, and I named, Joe Mauer is a Hall of Famer. Justin Morneau won an MVP. And Bryon Buxton has a better OPS against the White Sox than those two guys. And yet, he's now crushed you twice this season. But again, as I said, there's a lot, there's reality logic and there's frustrating logic. And the White Sox always choose the frustrating logic. For some, new TV broadcaster John Schiffren, he's been frustrating to listen to. Again, for some, keyword. I don't want to get blocked by John on Twitter. But John Schiffren has gone viral for his home run call on Saturday and sort of causing a social media civil war among the Sox community. Let's discuss next on LockOn White Sox. This Mother's Day, get something thoughtful for mom on DoorDash. Surprise her from wherever you are with fresh bouquets, the latest tech, gift cards, self-care treats, and more to make her day that much better. I mean, I live in Milwaukee. My mom's in Johnsburg, Illinois. I think I might have to use some DoorDash to get her some flowers. And maybe I'll pair some flowers with a gift card so she can celebrate any way she wants. Is she a bookworm? Try a bookstore gift card. I think I'm gonna, like I keep saying, I'm probably gonna have to do that for my wife. My daughter is still at that age where I'm the one that's gonna have to go out and get the gift. Get thoughtful gifts she deserves with the convenience you need. Choose same-day delivery or schedule a week ahead for when flowers and gifts should arrive to help her to arrive at her door with DoorDash. That's right, DoorDash isn't gonna just deliver food; they can deliver some nice flowers. And you can shop with the savings that would make her proud. With a Dash Pass membership, you'll save with a $0 delivery fee and reduced service fees on eligible orders from Dash Pass merchants that meet the minimum subtotal. Other fees, including service fee, apply. Terms apply. So get a Mother's Day gift as unique as she is with DoorDash. Use code LOCKEDONMLB. Get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 plus on your next flower, convenience, grocery, or retail order now on DoorDash. That's Locked On MLB. Ordered using DoorDash today. Terms apply. All right, and welcome back into Locked On White Sox. I'm your host, Todd Welter. If you're still with me, appreciate it, especially to you everydayers. Hope you had a good Monday and hope your Tuesday is going great. I had to install a toilet seat last night, and I'm sure you're like, why are you telling me this? But something dawned on me. Why aren't toilets just made to the size where you don't need a toilet seat? I think it's a scam. We're being scammed, people. And if you're like, oh, gross, well, hey, I just gave you something to thought about. Why are toilets made big enough to where you have to have a toilet seat? Shouldn't they just be made to where everybody can sit on them? Anyways, I was asked this question in the comments from yesterday's episode by user at Daniel Golden 2478. And hey, thanks for listening, by the way, Daniel. And he asked me, quote, honest question. What is your opinion of the new broadcaster's winning catchphrase, Southside stand up? I personally can't stand it. It feels forced, but I want to hear your opinion. And this also ties in because as John Schiffren, he kind of caused a stir with 2 tweets and an action he had on social media. So if you haven't heard the call, it's gone viral. Andrew Benintendi hits the walk-off home run. Just go on Twitter, just Google it. John is a very passionate guy. I get why they hired him. But he tweeted, this is at John Schiffren. Don't know or care who it was this time, but good. The haters don't want us to win. I love this team and this White Sox community. Can't wait for the next time we get to say hashtag Southside stand up. Okay. Because that's one of the things he said in the call. Former LockOn White Sox podcast host Herb Lawrence at Ecknerwall23, he tweeted, a team should have haters. If they set an MLB record for most times being shut out in their first 22 games, I'm rooting for you, but this is against the world thing you're doing is off-putting, as if hashtag White Sox are some victims of some unfair treatment by fans. Come on now, John. And that was kind of what was interpreted when he made that tweet, that the fans are hating on the White Sox, and if they are, well, they are justified. We have been in a toxic relationship since 2005. John basically, he did get back to Herb, saying he respects his work. He did put, Herb, respect what you do and a fan of your work. It's one thing to report the facts, another to take joy in dunking on the team. I see how hard these guys work, and that's what keeps me positive. And then Herb, he defended himself, basically saying, I'm not trying to dunk on the team. They left it up for me as an alley-oop, and nobody really wants to dunk on this team. And then he also blocked Herb's co-host Sean W. Anderson after making an innocent tweet about an incorrect call he had. Drama. But, so I'm just going to reply to, what did I think of Schiffren's call? First, I do want to be fair. It's got to be hard to replace Jason Benetti. How he left the team too, just basically being allowed to leave because the owner didn't get his humor. And the owner wanted him to work basically for the organization and didn't appreciate having a national TV voice. He wanted Benetti to be dedicated instead, where most teams are like, hey, you go do, if you want to go do some weekend games for Fox, you go do that. Helps us. Just as long as you're here Monday through Friday. When it comes to the catchphrase, and I put this in the comments, I do feel it's a failed attempt. And this is just constructive criticism. John, if you're listening, it's not meant to be mean. I personally, I like the energy that John has. But I think it's a failed attempt, especially since Reinsdorf, and I put this in the comment, he's trying to leave the true part of the South Side. He wants to build a new stadium in the 78. Now, it's a South Loop, but when you think South Side, one of the neighborhoods you think is Bridgeport, and he dunked on him. And, catchphrases need to be authentic, I think genuine and simple. We all know Hawk Harrelson could be very homerish. We'll go check on him. But it was authentic, put it on the board. Yes. duck snort, stretch, can of corn, relax, strapping on down. But I feel like John is trending towards Chip Carey in terms of, the cliches. Chip, from what I hear, has, gotten away and he's become a much better broadcaster. And again, what's my credentials? I've broadcasted in college, but what are my credentials? Well, I used to run the board for Bob Euchre, and he always had very simple catchphrases. And if you listen to anybody that's worked next to him, Pat Hughes, break out the tape measure. Jim Powell, he put a charge in that one. Corey Provis went very simple: back, track, wall, and gone. So, I almost feel like, first of all, copyright Southside Stand Up, because that's a t-shirt. But just maybe try some other stuff. What I do like about what John is doing is, again, I like his passion, and I like how he's leveraging Steve Stone. Ease your way in. You've got the best analyst in the game. Use them. And I do like how he's asking Steve questions. What's in your opinion? All that stuff. So that's a very good way of introducing yourself. And also, I can see a lot of things that are going on TV. So yeah, use that resource. All right, well, that wraps up this edition of LockOn White Sox. Before I go, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. We'll be back tomorrow, talk some more White Sox baseball. Hopefully we'll be talking about a White Sox victory. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page at LockOn White Sox. Smash the like button and give a 5-star review or wherever you get your podcasts. Let me know your thoughts today on today's topics regarding the White Sox losing a pitcher's duel, Bryon Buxton absolutely crushing the White Sox, and John Schiffren. You can leave me those comments at Todd J. Dub or email me at lockedonwhitesox@gmail.com. Have a great day. See ya tomorrow.